Yesterday, I was talking about Missouri Republicans not wanting to scrap child marriage. And someone came onto that post and let me know that Missouri was in the news again because they were pro child labor. Please know and understand, I spoke about this in that video where child labor, all of this goes hand in hand. Because if you have a bunch of kids, if people have kids that they can't afford, sending kids to work is a matter of survival. So if they keep lowering child labor ages or reducing, the obstacles that kids have to go through or reducing regulations, it all goes together. They just need wage slaves, and that's it. So this is from Newsweek. Missouri Republican moves to loosen child labor laws, calls children lazy. A Missouri Republican advocated loosening child labor laws, saying children were lazy and should get jobs like she did at the age of 9. In 2023, the Department of Labor announced plans to crack down on child labor amid a surge in violations after several states loosened workplace protections. This week, Missouri State Representative Sherry Tolson Reich, speaking in favor of a bill that would change a requirement for children under the age of 16 to get a certificate from their school before getting a work permit, said, "At what point are people going to be self-responsible? Some people seem to think that the government is the answer to everything. These young kids need to be taught self-responsibility," she continued. And I can tell you my personal story. I started working at age 9, and I continued to work throughout high school when I was 14, 15. Reich said having a job did not affect her education and that she graduated from high school early. She added, what these kids are today? Majority of them are lazy. They don't know what work ethic is, but they know how to play video games all night. They know how to join gangs. They know how to get into trouble, get a job, and be responsible. Vote yes. The Missouri law requiring children under the age of 16 to obtain a certificate issued by their school to get a work permit mainly applies to 14 and 15-year-olds, as children under the age of 14 are generally not allowed to work. The new bill would require only a parent or guardian to sign a permission slip for their employer. The bill to change the permission requirement is sponsored by Republican State Representative Dave Hinman, who told the Missouri Independent that he believes schools shouldn't play a role in the process. With the discussions with our superintendent and other folks around here, we felt it was better that the parents make that decision instead of the schools being the ones that sign off onto it. Critics of the Missouri bill say removing the permit requirement may lead to children being exploited. We need to be careful because at the same time that some states are doing this, weakening restrictions, we're seeing an increase in child labor violations and some really bad cases over the last few years. John Filter, an associate professor of political science at Kansas State University who studies child labor, told the Missouri Independent. He added that the school certificates created a record of employers acknowledging they would follow the law and allow schools to play a supervisory role to ensure that children's employment did not have a negative effect on their education. Y'all, all of this is set up to keep a working class or very, very impoverished class of people because obviously we're not having enough kids. That's why they keep coming for women's rights. That's the reason why they won't even keep Smbortion legal if someone was raped or if there was incest. This is all working together. These Republicans have a game plan, and it's all they are coming at it like they're like structuring, they're sculpting away, they're knocking away restrictions and regulations for a reason. Please keep this in mind. Watch what's going on, and don't just watch what's going on in your state. You have to watch what's going on in various states. Let me know what you think. Louisiana GOP blocks Smbortion exception for young survivors of grape and incest. Let's just look at the article. A state legislative committee in Louisiana has blocked the advancement of a bill that was designed to allow young people who are pregnant as the result of grape or incest to obtain Smbortions. Louisiana has a near total ban on Smbortion, only allowing the procedure in instances where a pregnant person's life is at risk. exceptions that are rarely implemented in practice due to the provider's fear of facing prosecution from the state. House Bill 164 sought to implement limited changes to the state's law by allowing victims of grape or incest under the age of 17 to get Smbortions. But the House Committee on Criminal Justice voted 7-4 against the measure, with all opposing votes coming from Republican lawmakers, some of whom tried to justify their votes by claiming they were protecting the innocence of the fetuses. They're protecting the innocence of the fetuses, but they don't give a good goddamn about the innocence of the girls or women that have been raped. That baby in the womb is innocent. We have to hang on to that, said GOP State Representative Dottie Horton. Other Republicans justified their votes by claiming that teenagers might lie about being SA'd in order to get a Smbortion. Democrats condemned their Republican colleagues for voting to further victimize children who have been SA'd. This bill is now focused on children, the legislation's author, Representative Delisha Boyd, said. Representative Alonzo Knox lambasted Republicans for voting against the measure, saying, "It's disgusting to me that we have a society where we can't make exceptions in a situation where a young girl's innocence has been taken away in the most vile way. And now she's impregnated. And somebody somewhere wants to force a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old to have a child to have a baby for the monster who took away her innocence." Witnesses who testified in favor of the bill, including healthcare providers, shared their horrifying experiences of having to force children to go through the birthing process after they became pregnant due to grape or incest. OBGYN Nalima Sukhavasi testified that she and her colleagues have delivered numerous babies of children who have been victims of SA. One of the teenagers delivered a baby while clutching a teddy bear. And that's an image that once you see it, you can't unsee it. 20 states in the U.S. are currently enforcing near total Smbortion bans or early gestational limits on Smbortion. Of those states, 10 make no exception for grape or incest. Since the overturn of Roe v. Wade, which had upheld federal protections for Smbortion from 1973 to 2022, there have been an estimated 64,000 pregnancies resulting from grape or incest in states with Smbortion bans, according to one JAMA stat. So, just another forced birther state. And like I said, all of this goes hand in hand. Make these people have babies. When kids or when people are unprepared to have babies, they are impoverished. They don't have a way to make money. If a girl or a teenager has a baby, what is the likelihood that she's able to overcome that poverty line and push out a productive citizen? Probably going to be low. So obviously the child of that mother would need to work. It's going to be all about surviving. Anyways, let me know what you think about this one. So here is the most updated information about the Mica J.P. Miller saga. Mica Miller's pastor husband was accused by his ex-wife, who you see in this blue dress, his ex-wife, of committing sex acts with children and being addicted to S workers. The bullet points covered in this story. Mica Miller was found unalived of a self-inflicted pew-pew wound in North Carolina on April 27th, 2 days after filing for divorce from her husband, JP. The Daily Mail can reveal that Miller's first wife, Allison, filed for divorce in 2015 after discovering he was having an affair with Mica, who was 14 years younger than him. Allison claimed that Miller had an addiction to S workers and had sexual encounters with underage girls. Let's get into this story. The first wife of Mica Miller's pastor husband accused him of committing S acts with children under the age of 16 and having an addiction to S workers. John Paul Miller was also started an affair with Mica, who was the couple's babysitter at the time, and the wife of his best friend, Jeremy Diaz. His ex, Allison, said in an affidavit from 2017, referring to, I guess she said all of this when they were going through their divorce. Our marriage and my husband's career were less than stable at the time because at the time my husband's affair was discovered, he had previously admitted to both me and our congregation that he had an addiction to S workers. Allison wrote in the affidavit to support her bid for alimony. He had also confessed to me and other staff members of the church that he had sexual encounters with young females from the church who were under the age of 16. When the defendant's affair was discovered, the church leaders demanded that the defendant seek counseling for sexual addiction. Y'all, look at this. This is out of control. The pastor is J.P. Miller, and the woman in white marrying the dude in the khaki pants, that's Mica Miller and her first husband, Jeremy. This is Allison, J.P. Miller's first wife, with whom he had 4 kids with. And then here is J.P. with Mica Miller. J.P. at this time of this picture was 44. Mica Miller was 30, which is 14 years younger. And sources say his fling with 14 years younger Mica started before she married Diaz. Public records show Miller married his first wife in February 2000, and the pair started Solid Rock Ministry shortly thereafter. She filed for divorce in 2015, with papers stating that Miller moved out of the family home on June 29th of that year, the very same day Mica left her marital home. In an affidavit dated June 2017, Miller's first wife said, "Our separation was a result of discovering that the defendant was having an affair with the praise and worship leader in our church, who was also the weekly babysitter of our 4 children and the wife of his best friend. His marital misconduct not only destroyed my marriage, but also caused me to lose my church family and income, along with severely damaging the relationship between the defendant and our children." The documents added that Miller allegedly confessed to his then wife and members of the church that he had sexual encounters with young females from the church who were under the age of 16. Allison's affidavit went on to say, "I agreed to work with the defendant to reach an agreement on resolving the issues of our marriage and not seek an adultery divorce as an attempt to prevent him from further damage in his career as a church pastor," which he should have. He should not be a pastor of a church. Allowing him to stay in the church further damages other girls in the church, and this is egregious that he was able to continue to be a pastor. Sources close to Mica's ex-husband, Jeremy, who filed on the grounds that the marriage was forever broken, told Daily Mail that Miller was methodical in his betrayal of his wife and best friend. The affair allegedly came to light after Miller and Mica were caught in an sexual act in 2015. He had a way of taking over someone else's mind, one source said. Mica and Jeremy would spend a lot of time at the Miller's house with Allie and JP, rehearsing the music for the church. It seemed kind of suspicious that they would always be hanging out, always together. He always had them around. It was like JP did it to subliminally get into her mind. Once everybody found out he lied to our faces, we confronted him, and he sat there and denied it to our faces that he was just friends with Mica, and that's it. And then obviously that changed when he married her. I'm going to leave it there. The story has been all over the place, but it just goes to show you that some of these people are very, very insidious, and they hide in plain sight. And people not holding them accountable allows them to continue to hunt and prey upon people. So y'all got to nip that mess in the bud. Don't let the fact that the ex-wife didn't file on account of adultery allowed that man to continue to be a pastor. All right, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this one. And don't forget to like, comment, and share.